So what have we done in the Eastern Cape to combat rhino poaching? The initial knee-jerk response to poaching is to increase security and to focus on what is really important, which is protection. But 23 countries in Africa have tried the protection strategy and they've failed. They've lost all their rhino. And we need to learn from that. And the message is we need to broaden our response completely. I put rhino in the middle of the circle, but you could put anything in here. It could be pangolins, could be succulent plants, could be ivory or any other species. The importance of protection is you're trying to keep as many of them alive as possible while you deal with the other issues. And these are how we deal with these other issues. So number one, you've got to create space for these animals. So this is habitat recovery and expansion, sometimes restoration, and you've got to keep them breeding as fast as possible, because on the other end of the scale, they're dying faster than we can breed them. So this side of it has to run really well and be optimized to keep as many, in this case, rhino alive as we possibly can. And that buys us what could be a whole generation of behavior change to stop the demand. Then the illegal wildlife trade. So this is from the crime scene to the arrests to the legal system, the whole law enforcement system. Vital that improves and gets tightened up. Communities form the most important, I think, of all 5 of these points that I'm going to raise with you, because ultimately no rhino gets poached without something coming through a community. Someone's got to get information from a community, or it's got to be someone from within the community that do the poaching. And the reasons why they choose to poach are things that we have to address. So the role that we have to play in communities is vital. Can't just expect communities to stop doing what they're doing unless you can bring an alternative to them that gives them a way out of the circumstances that they find themselves in. And then last but not least, education and awareness, which for us starts on this side at grassroots with school kids. It goes all the way through the international community and ends up with the consumers in countries like Vietnam. So just to talk you through a little bit more detail on what those 5 things look like. These are some images of protection on the ground, lots of people, lots of uniforms, weapons, equipment, aircraft. We're using horses more and more again. Very expensive process, completely unsustainable in most circumstances to maintain this kind of expense. For rhino, I can tell you on our reserve, we spend the financial value of the entire herd of rhino we spend every year on security. We know it's unsustainable, but we just do it, and it's drawing an enormous amount of funding away from other conservation activities and community development. So that's a problem. Part of our protection, we also have a whole surveillance network going in this part of the country now that's helping us get on top of this thing. When it comes to political will, we've made significant strides in the Eastern Cape because we have got some of our most prominent politicians behind this rhino poaching effort. This is Oscar Mabuyane, who is our MEC. He asked to lead a protest in Grahamstown against the poaching of rhino, and I think it's been central to the success that we've had here is that we've had some local political will, even if we've lacked in national will. What we do is when we arrest poachers, we ensure that their criminal proceedings, their court proceedings get well managed. These guys on the bottom left are the gang we believe were responsible for Thandi and Temba. Took us 6 years to catch them, and another 3 years in the courts before we actually got them finally convicted. So that's the length and the time required and the process required to actually get people behind bars.